Look, I'm not here to start a console war. Those are cringe and everybody loses. But I'm here to say that the platform you game on does tell me something about you. Not everything, not your whole personality, but something. Because the choices isn't always about the games. It's about identity, budget, habit, peer pressure, and honestly, a little bit of stubbornness. And yeah, I'm including myself into this. So, this is what your favorite gaming platform says about you. Let's start with the PC gamers, because they always want to go first anyways. And I say that as someone who games on PC. There's a specific type of person who goes down the PC rabbit hole, and it usually starts with one moment. You play a game on a decent rig and the frames are smooth. The resolution is sharp and something in your brain just breaks. Suddenly, you care about frame rates.
This is not okay. This needs to stop now.
You're watching GPU benchmark videos at 1 AM. You've spent more time building or researching your setup than you actually playing games on it. That's the PC gamer origin for like 70% of us, and it's embarrassing to admit, but it's kinda true. And look, let's be real about the cost, cause people love to dance around this. PC gaming is the most expensive platform to get into, full stop. A mid-range build that can actually run modern games well is going to run you more than any console on the market. And that's before you factor in the peripherals, a decent monitor, a chair you won't ruin your backend, and the GPU you'll want to upgrade in 2 years anyways. The "it pays off long-term" argument is true sometimes, but the thing about PC gaming is that it attracts people who genuinely love the control of it. You can mod your games, tweak your settings, use any controller you want, play games from literally decades ago, and nobody is locking you out of your own library. Steam sales have broken financially responsible adults, but there's also this very specific PC gamer thing where you boot up a game and spend the first 20 minutes with the performance overlay on, watching your FPS, your GPU temps, your CPU load, your power draw, and you're so busy making sure that the numbers look good that you barely actually play the game. That's a real disease, and I have it personally. The game is running great, just play the damn game. And there's the thing nobody wants to say out loud, but everybody knows. A chunk of people who chooses PC, especially because of piracy. The freedom of platform cuts both ways. When you own the hardware, you have access in ways that consoles will never allow. And some people factor that in when they're deciding where to game. That's just honest. It doesn't make someone a bad person. It makes them someone who can't afford a $70 game that might be mid. And that's a pretty understandable position when you think about it.
For God's sake, hey!
PlayStation people are interesting because PlayStation has this cultural weight into it that Xbox just never managed to replicate in the same way. If you're on PlayStation, there's a good chance you grew up on PlayStation. Your first gaming memory probably has a DualShock in it somewhere. Sony figured out really early that first-party exclusives were the weapon, and they've been leaning into that ever since. The Last of Us, God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima. These are games people buy hardware for, and PlayStation users knows this. They know they're paying for curated experiences, and they're fine with it, because the quality is usually there. But here's what PlayStation users don't always want to admit. The ecosystem is kind of controlling in a way that bothers some people more than it does. PlayStation Plus pricing has gone up. The tier structure is confusing on some purpose. And backwards compatibility took embarrassingly long to become a real feature. PlayStation gamers tend to be loyal to a fault, and Sony absolutely knows that and banks on it. And the personality type that gravitates toward PlayStation is pretty consistent. These are people who want a complete, polished experience handed to them. They're not interested in tweaking settings or hunting down mods or anything of the homework that PC gaming requires. They want to just sit down, pick up a controller, and have the game just work, and honestly, that's not a knock. That's a completely reasonable thing to want. PlayStation gamers tend to be the type who actually finishes games too, like roll credits, feel something, move on to the next one. They're not obsessing over the meta or arguing about hardware specs. They just care whether the game was good. there's something almost refreshing about that compared to the rest of us who are out here debating whether 30 FPS is acceptable in 2025.
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as in my opinion. I mean,
Xbox users has had a rough few years, and honestly, I feel for them a little. Not a lot, but a little. The Xbox Series X is a genuinely powerful, well-built console. Game Pass is probably the best deals in gaming right now. Actual good games, day one releases, PC and console access. It's hard to argue against the value, and yet Xbox has this PR problem it cannot shake as the exclusive situation has been genuinely bad for years. Halo came back and it was fine. Yeah, that's it. That's the sentence. It was fine. The thing is, Xbox users tend to be the people who really care about the value and flexibility. They like that Game Pass exists. They like that a lot of Xbox games come to PC. They're practical about it, but there's also a subset of Xbox users who are kind of in a permanent coping mode, waiting for Microsoft to finally deliver on the promise of what Xbox could be. And with the Activision Blizzard acquisition now in the rearview, there's some actual hope there. Call of Duty staying on Game Pass, Bethesda titles. The strategy is starting to make more sense. But Xbox users have been told to wait before, so the skepticism is earned. And personality-wise, Xbox people are genuinely the most chill gamers in the room. And I mean that sincerely. They're not precious about the platform. They don't have the same tribal energy that PlayStation fans carry or the smugness that PC gamers sometimes walk in with. They just want to play games without overthinking it. And Game Pass kind of enables that perfectly because you're never locked into one thing. Xbox gamers tend to hop between genres, try random games they never pay full price for, and have a pretty broad taste as a result. The downside is they're also the most likely one to have a massive backlog they'll never touch, because when everything is available, nothing feels urgent or valuable. That's a Game Pass problem as much as it is a personality thing, but it tracks. And honestly, if you've recognized yourself anywhere in this video so far, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because there's still lots to unpack here. Anyway, so let's continue. Nintendo Switch owners were a completely different breed, and I mean that in the best way possible. Nintendo has done something that no other platform has pulled off consistently. They made gaming feel like it's for everyone without dumbing it down. Breath of the Wild is one of the most critically respected open-world games ever made. Elden Ring gets all the discourse, but Breath of the Wild quietly changed how the entire generation thinks about exploration. Mario Odyssey, Metroid Dread, Pikmin 4, the catalog is genuinely deep if you're willing to look past the family-friendly branding. Switch owners tend to be the people who just want to have fun, and I don't mean that dismissively. I mean, they've made peace with the fact that chasing the highest fidelity graphics is a treadmill that never ends, and they'd rather just play good games. The portability of Switch also created a whole new type of gamer who plays in short sessions, on lunch breaks, on flights, in bed at 11 PM where they should be asleep. That's a real lifestyle shift that Nintendo invented almost by accident. The hardware is underpowered and Nintendo knows it, but it still charges full price for it anyways because they can. And Switch users sigh about it and buy it anyway because the games are actually worth it. It's a really complicated relationship. Nintendo fans are honestly some of the most patient and long-suffering people in gaming. Because Nintendo has been on a tear of just absolutely going to war with their own fanbase, and the loyalty somehow survives it. They sued Yuzu, one of the most popular emulators ever built, to the ground in 2024 and got a $2.4 million settlement out of it. Such an emulator went down the same week, and they went after Gary Bowser so hard that the man ended up with a 40-month prison sentence. They've killed countless fan games, slapped copyright strikes and YouTube videos of their own music, and then turn around and charge you $60 for an N64 game on Switch Online. And then they sued Pocket Pair over Palworld using patents so broad it made the whole industry uncomfortable. Nintendo fans know all of this, and they've watched it happen in real life, and most are still loyal to them. Nintendo knows exactly how much they can get away with because of it. Mobile gamers get a lot of disrespect that's only partially deserved. Yes, the mobile gaming market is saturated with predatory monetization, gacha mechanics, and games designed to extract money from people rather than entertain them. That's real and it's gross. But also, mobile gaming is how a massive portion of the world play video games. Games like Free Fire, Clash of Clans, and even ports of titles from PC that mobile can be done well. The problem isn't the platform, it's the business model that dominates it. If you're a mobile gamer, you've probably learned to navigate that minefield already, and you're used to people looking down on you for your platform choice. And look, there's a difference between someone who games on mobile because that's genuinely the only thing they have access to, versus someone who owns a console but still spend hours and hours on a gacha game. And the people mentioned in the first one deserve zero disrespect. A smartphone is a necessity, a PS5 is not. And mobile esports in places like Southeast Asia are bigger than most Western console scenes will ever be. But the second person mentioned though, we gotta be honest. Mobile games are specifically engineered to keep you coming back through reward loops. Not because the game is actually that good. If you have other options and mobile is still your main thing, the game probably has you and not the other way around. The bigger truth underneath all of this is platform loyalty is mostly just familiarity dressed up as preference. You game on a platform where your game's played. You game where you started gaming. You game when you can afford it. The identity stuff. The tribal, my platform is better energy that's mostly a cope for a choice you've already made and don't want to second guess. And look, I'm not above those. I've done some PC elitist things. I've looked down on people for gaming on a phone or gaming on other consoles when they cost too much. It's embarrassing in retrospect as gaming is gaming, and the only real L is not having fun. What your platform says about you isn't that you're better or worse than anyone else. It's usually just a snapshot of when you got into gaming, what your financial situation was, and who you were hanging out with at the time. And yeah, that's it. There's no deeper truth. The console wars aren't wars. They're just different groups of people defending the sunk costs of their hobby. And all of us are doing it to some degree. The self-aware move is just to acknowledge that maybe, and maybe, occasionally, try something outside your comfort zone. Play a Nintendo game if you've never taken it seriously. Try Game Pass if you haven't. If you can, game on PC for a while. Not to switch permanently, just to understand what the fuss is all about. You might learn something, or go back to whatever you were doing before and having better argument for why. Either way, you win. But if you're someone who genuinely plays everything, PC, console, mobile, whatever's in front of you, then honestly, you're probably the most well-adjusted person in this entire conversation. You're not loyal to a brand, you're loyal to the games, and that's actually the point. You should also have no strong opinions about any of this, which means the whole video was just a background noise to you, and I respect that more than I want to admit. So yeah, anyways, that's it for today's video, and if you liked it, then hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So yeah, that's all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.